Okay, I got updates. Uh, my last video, which is here, I guess I'll put it. Um, I was talking about solar generators. Solar generators, they're not generators. I still stand by that, although there's a lot of comments about, well, they are a generator because chemical reaction, whatever. The generator is the solar panel. Uh, and I don't have solar panels. That's not my point here. Um, but I was talking about the different brands of solar generators that are out there, or power stations, as they're more accurately called, and the fact that EcoFlow and similar ones like Bluetti and Jackery and things like that tend to be overpriced because of the marketing and everything they put into it. And I stand by that a little bit. But you see, there's a Delta 2 EcoFlow here in front of me. So the Solar Play generator power station that I had previously ticked all the boxes of things that I was looking for, but it did a couple of funny things when I started up. For instance, the flow through power thing when you have stuff plugged in and you have it plugged into shore power and it works as like a UPS kind of thing. Well, that would constantly kick out if I turned a load on. And there was a couple of other minor things, but whatever. I was hoping that stuff would work itself out. And I did a test, which I'll show you right here. Just a quick shot of how my air compressor works with my Solar Play power station. So here we go. We're going to test it out. No problem. It's showing 1,367 watts. Wow, okay. Great. That's good news. Air compressor works perfectly fine with it. Yeah, so it did run my air compressor successfully, and I apologize for the wavering stuff in that video, the stabilization thing of my camera. My camera is a cell phone, by the way, so the auto stabilization thing made that wavering thing happen. Anyway, besides the point, it worked great, and it ran the air compressor no problem, except that when I was outside actually nailing with it, the air compressor kicked on again. It immediately died. Like the air compressor came on for a second and then nothing. And I went back into where it was next to the air compressor, and the screen was black, everything was black, everything was shut off. I couldn't get it to come back on. Brought it back in the house, tried a bunch of stuff. It was dead, dead, dead. Nothing would happen. I thought, well, maybe if I plug it in like it's charging or whatever. Uh, so I plugged it in. The fans ran for like half a second, and then again nothing. It was completely dead. Unbeknownst to me, when I plugged it in, it tripped the breaker on the panel too. So something disastrous happened inside the unit, and to short out the actual house circuit, the shore power it was plugged into, and the unit itself just wouldn't do anything. Long story short, I sent it back. Um, it had barely run, and then it was a good experience, and here's why. In a grid down power outage situation, you've got looks like we might be out of power for a number of days, or whatever's happening. You want something reliable, something's going to work. This was obviously not going to be the answer. Maybe it would have worked for a little while, but maybe some point down the road it was not going to. So I should know better by this point that if you buy the absolute cheapest off-brand crap of anything, be it power stations, be it anything else, you're going to get what you pay for a lot of the time. and I wanted to make sure I had something that was going to be, it was proven, tested, reliable, had some, especially in a situation like that, because you're counting on this for power to, you know, run your fridge and your freezer and your communications and your other stuff. So, so anyway, I sent the solar plate back and started looking around. And these folks here, EcoFlow, this is, I still stand by the fact that the retail price of these is overpriced. And no, I am not sponsored. No, EcoFlow did not send me a free one. But they did have a really good sale on. Now, this was more money than what I had spent for the solar play. And I did order this. The package came with this and the extra smart battery. I don't really know what that means, but anyway, it's an extra battery, so it doubles the capacity of this. So over 2,000 watt hours of energy. It's an 1,800 watt and a surge to 2,700 watt, which is enough to run anything. Again, if you can plug it into a 110 outlet, you can plug it into this and you'll have no problem. I wanted to add that you're seeing the Delta 2 unit itself here, and I have bought the Delta 2 in the package that came with the extra smart battery. I don't have the extra smart battery. Right now, they seem to be on back order, and I contacted EcoFlow, and they said, yeah, they're on back order. I should see it in probably a month, maybe, maybe less. I don't know. But right now, they're actually out of stock on these things. They've been selling them, I guess, that quickly that they just don't have the stock on the extra battery. But so that's why it's not sitting here. Otherwise, I would have had that sitting here too. But you can look them up. There's like a million videos on these things. It looks basically like the same thing as this, except with less buttons and stuff on the front. And it plugs into the side here. So yeah, I just don't happen to have it yet. It's on the way at some point. I like the idea of having the separate battery because the solar play was heavy. It's 24. It was almost 25 kilograms. So that's that's 55 pounds, I guess, or something like that. They're kind of heavy. Like I had to carry it out to the cabin. Kind of heavy to move around. When you have a system like this and then the extra battery, that's what's going to be in the house most of the time, and that's what's going to run the house for like a day or so or whatever I'm going to use it for. But if I need to take it out to run some power tools briefly, or I need to be a little bit more portable with it, I can just take this unit itself. I don't have to take the extra battery necessarily. It's just easier to manage that way. So there's that bonus. But the main point was, this was on sale with the extra battery. I think it was $1,349. Now remember, folks, I'm talking about Canadian dollars. I realize most of the viewers are American. So I'll whatever that calculation is, I'll put here on the screen somewhere. But Canadian dollars not the same as American dollars. So when I say these prices, I'm talking about Canadian money. It's going to be a lot less for you in the States. I don't know what's actually happening, if it's because the Delta 2 is being replaced by a Delta 3 or what the deal is. But right now, I see some of the other manufacturers have these, sort of sales and things going on right now. I feel like the space has suddenly become a lot more competitive. And I feel like a lot of them are EcoFlow is losing market share to all of these other companies. And now it's like super competitive, so they're all fighting with each other. And I've also seen the videos and the comments and things like that where you don't actually need a power station itself. You can buy a lithium iron phosphate battery, and then you can buy an inverter, and then you can buy a charger, and then you can buy an MPPT controller for your solar panels if you have such a thing, etc. And you can put it all together in a nice box and potentially save some money doing it that way. But the thing is, these have been engineered to have everything work together correctly. And when you add up the price of what a lithium iron phosphate battery is and a good charger, because you're going to want something that charges quickly. So you need a 100 amp charger, which is $300, and you need a decent inverter, which is going to be $400 or $500, and then everything to put it together. And here's the bigger part: you got to be smart enough to know which components are going to work with each other without investing hours and hours and hours and having a degree in electrical engineering to figure out what the best combination of all those things are. I don't want to go there personally. I like the idea that this is going to all work together, and because of the company that it is and the reputation they've got, I'm going to be able to rely on this when I absolutely need it. So I guess that's my lesson learned, is that sometimes you want to go for the best value you can get, the cheapest dollars per kilowatt hour you can get, but you have to remember why you're using it, and the times when you really want this, when you really need it, you really need it, and you really need it to be reliable. So I'm not saying that all the cheaper brands. I almost went with the other brand I'm seeing a lot of videos and things on is Pecron. I think I'm saying that right. And that's actually what I was going to buy, was a Pecron. But don't forget, we don't have the same models you have available in the States either, in Canada. I don't have the OUPES or OUPES, whatever that brand is. We don't have those. They're just not available here yet. Pecrons are, but there was only 2 models. One was the newer style, which is a 1500 watt hour battery, which had a better, I think it was a faster charge that you just plug straight in. It looked pretty good. This is going to be over 2000 watt hours though. The 2000 watt hour Pecron was the other option. They're exactly the same price as the 1500 watt hour, but the 2000 watt hour only charges with like an external brick, and that external brick is 600 watts. They claim you can do 1200 watts of charging, but the only way you get there is by buying another brick and plugging it in twice to your shore power. And apparently it's got 2 inputs on the side of it to do that. This is the dumbest thing in the world to me. I don't understand why you would do this. But regardless, it seemed like it was a pretty good deal, and it was a toss-up between the 2, and they were $12.99 is our price in Canada for those. This was $13.49, so $50 more, and I got the divorced battery and like this unit plus the extra battery, which is the 2000 watt hour capacity. It's got the built-in fast charging. It's got all the things, and I have to say, I didn't really care about having the app and all that kind of stuff, but when I got the EcoFlow app and I realized what it could do, and I realized how that could be useful, it was, I get it now. I'll put it that way. I get it now. You can tell this is a much more quality unit. You can tell this is a better idea. And the system itself, like all of the EcoFlow products and the way they work together, or just seems like something you can build on. Because I can see that this, going into the future, I'm probably going to be building up more stuff. I might be taking part of this household off-grid, sort of completely. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how this is going to go? But I get why you would want to go with a more quality system like this. Bluetti may be very similar. I'm not sure. Don't know. I don't have any experience with that. But I get it. And right now, while there's deals on these things, I'm not going to put a link in the description or nothing like that. I'm not sponsored. This isn't, whatever. This is my experience with this. I get why you would do it. There's a couple of features that I kind of wasn't thinking about until I got this, that I started going through the app and started realizing, if I throw solar panels, say, on the roof of my house, and I have it plugged into this system here, and I can have the system plugged into shore power, you can change a bunch of those parameters, which didn't occur to me that you could do this. But so this can charge off nothing but solar and use no shore power until it gets down to a certain amount, and only when it gets to that certain amount will it click into the shore power, or maybe that's when you plug a generator in. So the automatic switching, I think, is a super important feature if you're thinking about off grid or partially off grid, or you know. So there's a lot of flexibility in their system. So yeah, it's a little more money, but honestly, at the end of the day, the Solar Play was $10.99. This was $13.49. Same kind of capacity, better features, better quality, the ability to split the system, so I don't have to take the entire battery with me when I go, back up in the woods using whatever I'm going to do, or out to the cabin, or some other part of the property where I need to run power tools and things like that, where I don't want the great big 55-pound brick with me. That's kind of that's a big selling point for me personally. So yeah, last video, I may have been wrong. And looking at retail per retail, I wasn't wrong on the value proposition, but it's more than just about the kilowatt hours in the battery itself. It's about the whole system and how it all works together. So takeaway is, consider what you're going to use it for, and consider if you're going to be growing what you're doing, if you're going to be building more, if you're going to be constantly doing things and changing things, then you want something that's going to be around for a while, something you can grow with. I still like my little all powers unit for the things that I want to use that for, and it's super portable, super light, and honestly, it only cost me $300. I couldn't beat that deal, and I would buy another one today if I could get it for the same price. Although I don't really need another one. No, scratch that. Anyway, I'll wrap this up, and like I said, egg on my face. May have jumped the gun last time. Lesson learned. Don't be such a cheapskate in absolutely everything you do. And sometimes you get what you pay for. Okay, I just wanted to make this not such just a boring video of me talking about my new EcoFlow and blah blah blah, being a fanboy and whatever. So right now I actually have a heater plugged into it. It's actually kind of chilly here. I did say I'm in Canada, right? It's middle of October, so it's a little chilly. It's not like freezing cold, but so I got a little electric heater. It's running, plugged in, and pulling 450 watts apparently. So it's under the table here, and I wanted to pull this over because I wanted to show you something. I haven't tried this yet, so this is a complete experiment to me. But I've seen a lot of things where there's a place on the back where you can plug in a solar panel, right? And I've seen places where you can extend the capacity of any power station if you plug a battery into the solar panel input. And okay, makes sense to me. And that's probably a lot cheaper than buying that smart battery that I bought that I don't have yet. But if I was in a pinch, and with or without the extra smart battery, I do have one of these. Lots of people have these around. You've seen them before. And the EcoFlow came with this. And this is for charging your EcoFlow from your car. It takes a long time to charge, apparently. So this here, this orange end, is the solar panel input part. I don't know what kind of MC, whatever it is, not sure. And then it has this. Well, I have one of those right here. So what happens if I plug the EcoFlow into this? Let's find out. Worst that can happen is I just bought this thing, so I could always send it back, I'm sure. So That's plugged into the solar part. Oh, there we go. So I'm actually getting 93 watts input off of my battery booster. So that's kind of cool. I know 93 watts isn't like a huge amount here or anything, but I'm kind of impressed with the fact that you can do that. Now, I'm sure I could take this, I could plug it into other batteries. I don't even know what kind of battery this thing's got. I think it's probably a small lead acid. I have no idea what the capacity of these things are, really. It's enough to boost a car, but I don't think it's like a long-term thing. It can run an air compressor for a while. But yeah, so in a pinch, I guess you could always top up a little bit with one of these or anything else you can plug your 12 volt cigarette lighter, 12 volt auto plug into. So that came with it. So, yep, just a little extra feature to show you.